How you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you.
So, a lot of people might know you from your time at Cardiff. Just give us a bit of an idea of how you've come to end up at Oxford City, because one of our panellists was rather brilliantly calling you a criminal trialist.
Criminal trialist? Well, I ended up leaving Cardiff City in the summer, and I went on trial to quite a few clubs during that time. And I was sat at home at Christmas, and I went to Oxford United, where I met Mickey Lewis, the assistant, and he put me in touch with Justin Merritt, the manager, and it kind of just went from there, really. And I came down to play a game, and obviously they liked what they saw, and yeah, it just went from there.
And did it surprise you, the level of football in standard of football in the Conference North, in terms of being better or worse than you expected? What had you heard about non-league, and did it match those expectations?
No, I think it was better than the expectations. I mean, you hear obviously it's just you know, lumping up the pitch. You hear that a lot, and you know, in all honesty, we have played one or two teams where you see a player doing that. But you know, at Oxford City, we play football, and some of the lads are absolutely brilliant on the ball, especially one or two of the Spanish lads, and I was really surprised. You know, that first training session when I came down, and I love playing there.
A lot's made these days of how easy young players have it, particularly at the higher level of the game. You've obviously been in a championship club in Cardiff. How different and how much of a grounding does it give you coming down to non-league level, where a lot more things I expect you have to do for yourselves, not everything's laid on for you? Yeah,
I think obviously there is a difference. And I think when you're at those clubs, you do get a bit spoon-fed, and I wouldn't say it was a massive wake-up call for myself, because I went on trial to a few League Two teams. I was at Tranmere for 4 weeks. So I had a good period there where, I saw what it was like at a League Two club. And obviously there is a big gap as well between those standards. So it wasn't a massive wake-up call for myself. But the club and the lads have been great with me. It's a very professional club. Yeah, it's been great so far.
Obviously, Oxford play in the Conference North, despite being quite a southernly based club, really. Have the players, struggled to adapt to that at all? I know there's quite a lot of long journeys in there, or do you see it as a positive?
Well, to be honest, there hasn't been, since I've been here, we've only played Barrow away, which was obviously our last game, and we stayed overnight. But those journeys sometimes help, because you're on the bus with the lads for a good 5-hour period, and it gets you together, and it gets you chatting, and it gets the morale up, and you can get to know each other better. But we've had a lot of home games as well, so it's not been the travelling's not been too bad for us so far.
You beat Tamworth, who were the league's form team, a few weeks ago. That must have been great for the confidence for the boys. Yeah,
it was. We had a keeper sent off in that game as well, and we had to hold on. Down to 10 men, winning 1-0, and we ended their unbeaten run, which was really pleasing as well.
And does it frustrate you, the slight bits of inconsistency since then? And do you think that a playoff spot is still achievable?
Definitely. I mean, our form over the last 5 games has been brilliant. And we went away to Chorley and got a draw, and we've been away to Barrow and got a draw. We've been Tamworth at home. And since I've been here as well, we've been a bit unfortunate with a few decisions, with our keeper getting sent off. We were winning away at Tamworth, and our keeper got sent off, and that changed the game. And we could have won there, and done the double over them. But our recent form's been brilliant, and we've been playing well, especially with the likes that Gloucester win where we won 7-1. So Saturday's a big game for us. And then we've got Hednesford after that as well. So next 2 games could really kind of shape that playoff push.
In years gone by, making the switch from a championship club to a non-league club might have been seen as a massive drop, a big negative. But Now you see guys like Dwight Gale making a step up to the Premier League in a very short space of time. Brett Sombalonga going on loan in the conference, excelling, moving up. Chris Stokes even recently going on loan from FGR to Coventry. Do you think this is a good time perhaps to get away, whatever the level, play football, and then think about moving back up to where you'd like to be one day?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of managers and scouts want to see, that you can put it to one side and that you can accept it, drop down, pick yourself up and go again. I know one or two lads that have been let go from bigger clubs and then it hasn't worked out and they've stopped playing. And I think the other thing is, like you say, it's league, it's league football, it's getting you playing, with 3 points on the line, and you're playing against men, and it lets them see you in that different environment. So yeah, it's always a good. It's never a bad thing to drop down and start over if you like.
And you were at Cardiff, sort of on the edge of that first team. Just how much of an interaction did you get with that top level of the squad, and how much were you in and around the reserves? Because you were sort of almost floating between the two.
Well, when I initially joined under Marc McCann, in the championship, it was a championship squad. Everyone was in one changing room. We all trained together, and I was really surprised. Obviously, going from Man City to Cardiff City, that was a complete change, and everyone was together. And partly in the 21 squad, when I first joined, we only had 7 players, training with the first team every day. And then when we went into the Premiership, the new players came in, the new building came in, and there was a little bit more of a separation. And it kind of got a bit less than the under-21 squad. The squad got bigger. So I was predominantly under-21 playing. But when I initially joined, I was training with the first team a lot under Malky, and obviously it was unfortunate what happened with Malky in the club.
Thank you very much for your time, Luke, and best of luck for the rest of this campaign.
Cheers, thank you.
So, Luke Coulson there speaking to us. A very interesting story of sort of a very common thing we see in non-league with many players who, at a Premier League club, at a Championship club, in and around the academy, gets released, kind of needs this level to kind of help him showcase his talent. Absolutely.
There's no point saying, I'm a Premier League footballer, I'm at a Premier League club if you don't play. If you go to under-21 football, under-18 football, great, but the 3 points at the end of the day aren't that important. In the youth leagues, you need to go somewhere where it means something. I think if you speak to any player that's been at a reasonably high level that makes that drop down and plays football, they grasp the importance of the 3 points, maybe not to themselves at the time, but to their teammates. And I think quickly become sort of immersed in that, and there's no substitute for playing. And Tom, as Jacob touched, and Jacob, as Tom touched on, got that completely the wrong way around. We've seen that there's plenty of chances to move back. It's not, a case of, you're gone, you're gone. Clubs are looking down in non-league even more these days than they ever have been. Yeah, and I think obviously the examples Tom brought up were brilliant. I mean, Peterborough are really a club that have been looking down there and getting some real bargains and making some really good deals by selling them on as well. So I think there's that, and there's a lot of loan players that are coming down and going back up. I know Billy Knott came to Woking from Sunderland, no place at Sunderland. He's now leading Bradford. Well, he led them in the FA Cup, and he's becoming a great player. And I think, once you've learnt your trade, at this level, it's easier to go higher again. Are there any particular players you might have seen playing for Woking or for someone else this year who you thought, if I was Ben Valentine, if you will, and I was a Chester scout, but theoretically maybe at a league club instead of a much bigger budget, I'd be having a look at? I think Jack Marriott is a very, very good player, led the line very well for Woking and chased every single ball down. Unfortunately, it didn't really work out for him when he came back on loan to Woking this season, but he's out of contract in the summer at Ipswich, so you've got to look at that and say, well, it'd be a free transfer, and he's really got some great potential, and he's a great player if you can have him up front. So he's a player I expect to see playing at least in the Football League next season regularly. And Jack, is there any that have caught your eyes watching both Grimsby and opposition this year? You thought I wouldn't be too surprised, if a League One Championship club maybe does what Brentford did with Andre Gray? Yeah, we've got a few. We've got goalkeeper James McEwen. He was Republic of Ireland under-21. He's been absolutely fantastic for years for us. Same with Sean Pearson. They both came from Boston with manager Paul Hurst and at the time Rob Scott. We've got this season ex-Chelsea player Carl Magno. We got him from Gateshead after he was released. He's been our right back, he's been our left back, and I'm fairly sure he's played centre half as well.
been absolutely fantastic. Doesn't feel wrong.
So he's done his best there to basically advertise all of his club's best players. So if you're out there and you want to ruin next season for Jack, just come in and take them all off Grimsby's hands if you're scouting. Tom, same question to you, really.
I could be very lazy and pick some Barnet players. Obviously, John Akindi's goals. I think Martin Allen's been at pains to say he's developed now mentally and physically as a person. He could handle the Football League now, whereas he maybe couldn't before. But the two I would pick, the two that have impressed me this season elsewhere, maybe they wouldn't go as high as the Championship, but they would be Alan Power at Lincoln City and Craig Disley at Jack's Club of Grimsby. I think they ran the game against Barnet.
A double recommendation for Craig Disley. We're going to take a short break and we'll be back in a few seconds.